Deep in the heart of the forest, by a sparkling pond that shimmered under the sunlight, lived two friendly frogs named Freddy and Frankie. The pond was surrounded by lush greenery, tall trees and vibrant flowers, making it a perfect home for the two brothers. Freddy was a big green frog with a smooth, shiny skin that glistened in the sunlight. He had large, expressive eyes that always seemed to be on the lookout for the next adventure. He was known throughout the forest for being brave and strong. Freddy could leap great distances and was always the first to explore new areas of the forest. Frankie, his little brother, was a small, spotted frog with a cheerful disposition. His spots were a mix of dark and light greens, making him look like a tiny piece of art. Frankie was kind and cheerful, always ready to lend a helping hand to any creature in need. His laughter was infectious, and he had a way of making everyone around him smile. Freddy loved to hop and jump from one lily pad to another, often challenging himself to see how far he could go. He would spend hours practicing his jumps, aiming to be the best jumper in the forest. Frankie, on the other hand, loved to sing and swim. He had a melodious voice that echoed through the forest, and he would often sing while swimming gracefully across the pond. Despite their different interests, Freddy and Frankie were the best of friends. They were always ready for an adventure, exploring the forest together and discovering new places. One sunny morning, as the forest was bathed in golden light, the annual Forest Games were announced. This was the most anticipated event of the year, where all the forest creatures came together to compete in various challenges. Freddy and Frankie were thrilled. They had been looking forward to the Forest Games for months and couldn't contain their excitement. They couldn't wait to join the fun and show off their skills. Freddy was eager to participate in the jumping contest, while Frankie was excited about the singing competition. This year, the most exciting challenge was a race. It was a race across the forest, through winding paths, over streams and under the canopy of trees. The race was not just about speed, but also about navigating the forest's many obstacles. The participants had to be quick, agile and smart to win. The grand prize for the race was a jar of glistening golden flies, a delicacy that every frog in the forest dreamed of. Freddy and Frankie were determined to win and bring home the coveted prize. The day of the race arrived. The forest was buzzing with excitement. Freddy and Frankie, full of beans, lined up at the starting line.
"Ready, set, go!" shouted the wise old owl, who was the referee.
The race began. Animals from all over the forest dashed off, eager to win. Freddy and Frankie zoomed past the trees, their little legs working hard. Suddenly they reached a rushing river. It was wide and deep, with a strong current. The other racers hesitated. The river looked scary. Some animals shook their heads and turned back. It was too risky.
"Oh no, the river!" cried Frankie, his voice trembling. "It's too big. We can't swim across that."
Freddy looked at the rushing water. He had to admit, it did look challenging, but Freddy was determined. He wasn't going to give up easily.
"Don't worry, Frankie," said Freddy with a reassuring smile. "We can do this. We just need to work together."
Freddy thought for a moment. He remembered seeing a large, sturdy leaf floating nearby.
"I have an idea," he exclaimed. "Let's use that big leaf as a boat."
Together they hopped towards the large leaf. They dragged it to the riverbank and pushed it into the water.
"Get in, Frankie," shouted Freddy as he held the leaf steady against the current.
Frankie, still a bit unsure, cautiously climbed onto the leaf. He held on tight, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. Freddy jumped onto the leaf, his tiny heart racing with excitement. He had been planning this adventure for days, and now the moment had finally arrived. Using his strong legs to push them off the bank, Freddy felt a surge of determination. They were afloat. The current was strong, but Freddy was ready for the challenge. With his webbed feet paddling furiously, Freddy navigated the turbulent waters. The river seemed to roar around them, but he remained focused, steering them through the rushing water. Steering them through the rushing water, Freddy felt a sense of pride. He was not just a small frog, he was a captain, guiding his vessel through the wild currents. Frankie, feeling a little braver now, watched his friend with admiration. He had been nervous at first, but seeing Freddy's confidence gave him courage. He started to enjoy the ride, the thrill of the adventure replacing his initial fear. The river was their playground, and they were ready to explore every inch of it. He dipped his feet in the cool water, feeling the refreshing splash against his skin. The sensation was exhilarating, and he couldn't help but giggle as the leaf bobbed along. Giggling as the leaf bobbed along, Frankie felt a sense of freedom he had never experienced before. The world seemed vast and full of possibilities. They worked together, Freddy paddling with all his might and Frankie keeping an eye out for obstacles. Their teamwork was seamless, each frog playing their part perfectly. And Frankie keeping an eye out for obstacles, they communicated with quick glances and nods, understanding each other without words. They dodged rocks and logs, their little leaf boat dancing on the waves. The river was full of surprises, but they faced each one with bravery and skill. Their little leaf boat dancing on the waves, they felt invincible. The challenges only made their journey more exciting. "See, Frankie, we're doing it! We're crossing the river!" Freddy exclaimed, his voice filled with joy. They had set out on an adventure, and together, they were conquering it. The river stretched out before them, a path of endless possibilities. With each paddle and each laugh, they grew more confident, knowing that as long as they worked together, they could achieve anything. Their journey was far from over, but they had already learned the most important lesson. Teamwork truly makes the dream work. Suddenly, the river took a sharp bend. Before Freddy could react, their leaf boat bumped into a patch of sticky mud near the riverbank.
Whoa!
Cried Frankie as the leaf jolted to a stop. They were stuck. Freddy tried to push them free with his strong legs, but the mud held them fast. They were trapped.
Now what do we do?
Asked Frankie, his voice filled with worry. The other racers were far ahead now, already disappearing into the forest. Freddy racked his brain for a solution. They couldn't stay stuck here forever. He looked around, hoping for inspiration. Then he noticed a group of dragonflies hovering above them. Frankie, despite his kind heart, was afraid. He didn't believe he was strong enough to help. He felt small and helpless. S2. "Me? But Freddy, I'm not strong like you. I can't pull us out of this mud." S1. "Frankie, I need your help." Freddy, sensing his brother's fear, placed a reassuring fin on Frankie's shoulder. Freddy explained his idea to Frankie. They would ask the dragonflies for help. Frankie, with his small size and friendly nature, could convince them. Frankie hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath. He could do this. He had to be brave for himself and for Freddy. S1. "Don't worry, Frankie. You don't need to be strong. You're quick and clever. I have a plan, but I need your help to make it work."
Please, dragonflies, we need your help. Our leaf boat is stuck in the mud and we can't move it on our own. The race is almost over and we don't want to be left behind. We need your strength and agility to get us out of this sticky situation. Our leaf is stuck and we can't finish the race without you. The other teams are already ahead and we don't have much time left. If you could just give us a little push, we know we can catch up and maybe even win this race. Your help would mean the world to us.
Frankie, with a determined look in his eyes, called out to the dragonflies. He knew that their only chance of winning the race was to get the dragonflies to help them. His voice was filled with urgency and hope as he explained their dire situation. He pleaded for their help, explaining their predicament and the importance of the race. The dragonflies listened intently, understanding the gravity of the situation. They could see the desperation in Frankie's eyes and knew they had to act quickly. The dragonflies, touched by Frankie's sincerity, agreed to help. They knew that their combined strength could make a difference. With a sense of camaraderie and determination, they prepared to assist the frogs in their time of need. They dived down using their long tails to carefully lift the leaf from the mud. It was a delicate operation requiring precision and teamwork. The dragonflies worked in perfect harmony, their movements synchronized as they lifted the leaf inch by inch. Freddy and Frankie cheered as they felt the leaf come unstuck. They were free. The relief and joy on their faces were evident as they realized they could continue the race. Their spirits were lifted and they felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. With a final push from the dragonflies, their leaf boat was back on the flowing river. The frogs paddled with all their might, their eyes fixed on the finish line. The dragonflies flew alongside them, cheering them on and providing encouragement. Together they raced towards their goal, united in their quest for victory. With renewed energy, Freddy paddled furiously, guiding their leaf boat down the river. They sped through the rest of the course, their hearts pounding with excitement. Finally, they crossed the finish line. They had done it. Even though they didn't come in first place, Freddy and Frankie were ecstatic. They had faced a challenge and overcome it together. The wise old owl, impressed by their determination and teamwork, awarded them a special prize, a basket full of juicy, delicious crickets. Freddy and Frankie shared their prize with the dragonflies who had helped them. They had learned a valuable lesson that day. With teamwork and determination, even the toughest challenges could be overcome. From that day on, Freddy and Frankie continued to have many more adventures. And whenever they faced a problem, they knew they could overcome it as long as they had each other.